welcome back to the Tiki Talk Show. I'm Ryley.
And I'm Ellie.
And today we're bringing you another fantastic interview. You'll notice that we do not have an artist spotlight this week. The last time we did this was with Sven Kirsten. And this week we had a lot to talk about with our guest. Our guest this week is Matt Marble, aka Spike.
Spike is probably best well known for his YouTube show, Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour, which was born out of the COVID boredom creation kick. But beyond his YouTube show, he's also in a band, the Hula Girls, and recently has a new YouTube show, Tiki Cocktails with Spike. Spike is a very interactive person that has been around Tiki for quite a while. You know, he started out in the beginning interacting with Tiki and even now bringing it to a wider audience.
Speaking of Matt's history in Tiki, we get into it in the show. He's been going to Tiki Oasis since Tiki Oasis 3. Now that we're talking about Tiki Oasis, you can find us this year at Tiki Oasis 25. So come say hi, and also go say hi to Matt and so many other great people who are performing or just attending this event.
Yeah, we're really happy that this could be the interview to come out while we're here in the middle of Tiki Oasis. We had so much to talk about, from his origins in Rockabilly, how he got into Tiki, and the new projects he's looking forward to in the future. So be sure to say hi to Matt while you're here at the Tiki Oasis. Say hi to us and enjoy the episode. Hi, and welcome back to the Tiki Talk Show. I'm Ellie.
And I'm Ryley.
And today we have the pleasure of sitting down with Mr. Spike Marble, host of Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour and member of the Hula Girls. How are you?
I'm very good. Wow, you did that really well. That would have taken me like 6 or 7 times. Did you read that?
Nope.
No.
Damn, dude. I should hire you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Could you just start out by giving yourself a little bit of an introduction and telling the listeners and viewers what you do?
Yeah, my name is Spike Marble. I played guitar in a band called the Hula Girls. I started Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour about 5 years ago, I guess it is, during COVID. And I got into Tiki in the late 90s. And I think I went to Tiki Oasis 3, something like that. But yeah, it's I never imagined this being a career for me, and I never imagined being flown to places like Indiana, New Jersey, and Florida to do all kinds of fun stuff for Tiki. And my goal is really to I think do what essentially what you guys are doing also, and spread kind of the gospel of Tiki, certainly to younger people, because there is a bit of an age divide that has happened with Tiki and with Rockabilly and with like a lot of other subgenres. It's wild. It's a weird thing.
Yeah. I think the internet has definitely just changed the way that people get into subcultures. Now it's like there's a new trend every 2-3 weeks, and things move on so quickly that no one really takes the chance to get a real foothold in something.
Well, the funny thing is too, and like I don't want to I don't want to call these girls out, but it's like all of a sudden there are all these girls that are goth and they came from like Rockabilly or whatever, but it's like they don't have any pedigree in the music, or they didn't, they don't smoke cloves and go to the clubs and like everything that people in that world did.
Yeah.
I'm not like a goth guy, but like that's one of the examples that I see, that it's like when when CDs stopped happening, all of a sudden anybody could be part of anything immediately just by going to Spotify or whatever and saying, yeah, I listen to Black Flag. I like punk rock or whatever. And it's like, no, dude, back in the days before streaming, you had to go to the counter at the warehouse or at Tower Records or your local mom and pop shop and go, I believe in this, and you're going to judge me for it. And you had to dive into understanding what that was in order to buy that, I think. And now you don't. So, which is, I don't know, good, bad. It's just the world today.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of trends that have come and gone, and it is even within the Tiki world, because it is kind of it does touch multiple different subcultures like Rockabilly. It does touch things, I mean, now goth and a lot of other stuff on top of just Tiki itself. And
Totally.
so starting this interview out, what we're want to hear about, if we go all the way back how did you first get into tiki? How did you first discover it? Was there something that you grew up with, or was it something that later on that you found out about?
Right. Well, being in Southern California, my parents would take us to the Royal Hawaiian. I just thought it was like another seafood restaurant or whatever. I wish I could remember it like how it was back then, because that would have been 80s, 90s.
Hmm.
Um, but I didn't really have any recollection of tiki until college, where I had a graphic design professor who we did like a project at his house where it was like a critique of our work at his house. And I was like, that's kind of weird. Like, why are we going to this guy's house? And then you go into his house and it's like, oh, it's incredible. It's like all mid-century everything, but it's all from thrift stores. Like everything's from thrift stores. Not and that so okay, so once I figured out well that he had some, okay, let me just cut to, he had a bunch of like mugs in a old refrigerator that was not working, but it was like a display case.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, why does it say the Islander on the back of it? Why does it say Harvey's is kind of like a bad example because it's like not very Pacific Islander sounding. But he had a bunch of these mugs that had these funny names on the back of them, and uh, I was like, well, what is this? And if you don't have any point of reference, then it doesn't make any sense to you. And he goes, well, these are from like old Hawaiian restaurants, and like you would get a cocktail, and it would come in this mug, and it would be served to you. Blah blah blah. The whole thing that we know now. And I went, man, that's incredible. And he goes, and I find them all the time at the thrift stores. And I went, where? And then he never found another tiki mug in the thrift stores ever again until I left that city for college. But I was going to the thrift stores like 2, 3, 4 times a week, and I was harvesting the tiki mug tree, and it was just like that. And if I paid more than $1 for a mug, I was like, I guess I'll buy this. I don't know. That's kind of expensive. So that's like where things were at that time.
Uh-huh.
Um, Once I got out of college, that was like 90, 99, 98, 99, something like that. Once I got out of college, I think around that same time the Book of Tiki came out, around 2000. And then I was like online all the time with Tiki Central, and that's where everybody congregated, and that's where everybody found out about the things um, that we all love so much. And it was urban archaeology. It was people discovering new things all the time, and it was uh, it was an interesting time because it almost kind of duplicates what you're talking about now. I went to the third Tiki Oasis. I think it was the third one,
Yeah.
in Palm Springs, and I was like heavy into rockabilly and stuff. And I was like looking around, going, dude, everybody here. And I was in my early 20s. Everybody were in their like 30s and 40s, and I was like,
Mhm.
where's everybody that's into rockabilly? Because it's all congruent. It all made like it all ties into the same era, like the music crosses
Mhm.
over. There's a lot of rockabilly and country performers who did a lot of Hawaiian records. It just made sense to me, and I didn't see any of those people at that event. And as we've seen, this is like what, 20 years later.
Mhm.
Everybody who was 30 and 40, and I was 20. Wait, this way. we we all just went up the same together, and
Mhm.
some younger people have trickled in, but it really hasn't proliferated, to where it's like, oh, there's a whole new group of people coming in. It's been like, it's pretty odd, and
Mhm.
it's a little discouraging for the scene, you know.
Yeah. And providing a little bit of context is before the show we were talking about how Ellie and I, when we used to go to tiki bars in San Diego, we'd look around and realize like, oh, we're the youngest people here who were kind of into the scene. And
Yeah.
that's not patting us on the back. It was just kind of an observation that we had, and
Totally.
we've done our best to get as many of our friends into it. I can't. I mean, if Mark and Kate somehow listens, I've probably bought 8 or 9 copies of Smuggler's Cove for
As gifts.
as gifts for
Oh,
people.
okay. I
Yeah.
thought you were just
Just
handing
going.
them out on the street.
Oh, maybe that's the next step. Maybe yeah, maybe he'll sponsor. And I've recommended your show plenty of times. People like check this
Thank you.
stuff out and then get into it.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate that. How old are you guys?
We're
25.
25, yeah.
Judge all you will, but the nice
No,
haircut I
I'm
got.
not. Oh God, I'm not judging you at all. It just makes me sad that I'm no longer 25.
Yeah.
Well, I heard a story that you had an introduction to Tiki even before this experience with the college professor, and it has something to do with Shag being in a band and one of his paintings.
Oh, in one of his paintings.
You said that
Well,
the bass player had this beautiful Shag painting on his bass.
oh, I got you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just incidentally, like the bass player of the band that Shag was in at the time, the Swamp Zombies, was my babysitter at the time. And I ended up meeting Shag actually at a shabu shabu place just like down the street from my house.
Mhm.
I was sitting there. I worked at Volcom at the time, so I spent a lot of my years working in the surf industry for Hurley and Volcom and O'Neill and Rusty. Um, and the surf industry has nothing to do with tiki, by the way. It's like totally, it's totally removed. It's yeah, it's a different thing. But we'd go to the shabu shabu place for lunch, and I see, I recognize him obviously, and he's sitting kind of across the way, and then he asks one of the servers to ask me if I'm the guy from the Hula Girls, and then that was it. From then on, we were kind of buddies, and he remembers that too. I guess his wife used to work for my dad, framing pictures, and so like I met Shag, when I was in high school, maybe elementary school, something like that. But yeah, the bass player from his band had a big upright bass that was painted purple with a big tiki on the back, and I remember going like, I don't really understand what a tiki is. Again, there was no internet. There was like the internet didn't exist, which is
Yeah.
Yeah.
fucking wild. Like it just didn't. Um, so you kind of had to like, I think I saw a Brady Bunch thing once with a tiki. Maybe there was an
Yeah.
idol, or you know what I mean? Like it was that kind of thing. And you go, oh, okay. They're immediately I knew that they were onto something like well beyond what I had any understanding about.
Mhm.
They had a band called the Swamp Zombies, the Huntington Cads, which was like a traditional surf band, and the Tiki Tones. And the Tiki Tones was like one of the bands that fully inspired my band. So yeah, it's weird. It was like I was born into this world, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I always joke on some of our interviews. I call it Tiki Creep. Is that like because we talked to Christy White and she has a story where it was introduced to her very early, but she didn't explore it. It wasn't ready yet. So it creeps in your life slowly, slowly, slowly. Then all of a sudden one
Sure.
day it kicks open the door and says, "Congratulations, like you're into it now." And
Yeah.
it sounds like that's quite a number of our stories because I equally kind of have those like little flashes of memories where that
Mhm.
might have been something, or maybe I went to Disneyland and that had an impression on me and all of those
Hmm.
things. But it wasn't until later on that I found out what it was, that it was like, oh, this completed the puzzle. Like this was the last piece I needed to figure out
Right.
like what this whole thing was.
What was it for you?
Just like well, what got me into Tiki was the final piece was Ellie taking me to Bali High in San
Mhm.
Diego, and
Oh,
but I was into surf music, and I've been collecting Exotica records probably since I was maybe 9 or 10. Going to
Mhm.
Goodwill, I just thought
really?
I thought they were awesome covers. I thought they were super
Yeah.
cool, and I could buy them for $1. So I was like, yeah, this Arthur Lyman fella, yeah, he's going somewhere in this world.
You know what's crazy is there are videos of Arthur Lyman performing on like the patio of like the Hilton or something in Hawaii in like
Mhm.
'95, and it was like nobody, like to like three people having brunch, like
Yeah.
they had no idea he was a giant recording artist in the '50s.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
We just by the time this interview comes out, this would be in our previous episode. But we just talked to King Kukulele recently, and he talked about how he was in Hawaii, where it was Arthur Lyman, Martin Denny, and
I don't remember.
I don't remember the third one, but they were playing Quiet Bill, or it was Augie Cologne. I think it was Augie Cologne. All
Really?
three of them
Yeah.
together in the late '90s, playing together. And I think even he said there was like, yeah, maybe like a couple dozen people there at most, not
Mhm.
realizing
God.
what they were witnessing.
Was that at the at La Mariana? There was a concert that happened at La Mariana, but I don't know if that was it.
I don't think he mentioned where it was, just
Oh,
Yeah,
other than
okay.
in Hawaii. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Crazy.
Yeah.
So I want to jump back to something that you said originally because we've asked a couple of people about this now.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Um, Pre-Tiki craze thrift stores, because I've talked to plenty of people that they say like, yeah, back then you were able to get so many amazing things without
Mhm.
really paying crazy prices. It sounds like your experience. Do you have anything that really like stands out, or
Yeah,
like
for sure.
anything now that you look back like, whoa, I'm lucky I grabbed that?
Yeah. there was one thing in particular. I didn't understand what it was. It was if I went into the place right now, I could still tell you exactly the shelf, the location, exactly where it was. It wasn't even like in the bric-a-brac section or like the glassware section.
Mhm.
It was a Trader Vic's decanter, which is like that lava moai with his hands on his head, like the
Oh yeah.
suffering bastard they call him. And I remember this is like shortly after. I think this is shortly after I got the Book of Tiki. So like I knew about Tiki, but this thing didn't say Trader Vic's on the bottom. It didn't say, it said like something about non-distributable or something like that. It was
Yeah.
like a liquor license or something.
Mhm.
Um, and I was like, this seems like the kind of thing that my professor had, and it seems like the kind of thing in the book that I just got. It's $1, whatever. I'll buy it. If I don't like it later, I'll throw it off the roof or something. Like it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so glad I didn't throw it off the roof. Um, so yeah, Trader Vic's decanter, and at the time, like shortly thereafter, I saw it on eBay. Well, when eBay happened, that's a whole nother thing. When eBay happened, all these stores cleared out. Like there were people nonstop going into the stores. They were buying stuff to resell, and that was
Hmm.
the beginning of the downfall of the thrift stores. But I saw that same decanter on eBay for $800. And
Whoa.
yeah, and it's so funny to me because like modern tiki mugs, um, seems like people are more interested in modern tiki mugs and paying
Hmm.
a lot of money for them,
Mhm.
whereas I've always been a fan of like the super vintage stuff, and the vintage stuff still, some of it still holds its value very well, but a
Hmm.
lot of it, man, you can get for almost nothing, it seems like.
Mhm.
We were talking to Sven not too long ago, and he said something very similar. And so it was right after the Peekaboo Galleries auction that they just did a couple
Mm,
of months ago.
Mhm.
And I was
mhm.
bidding in that auction, and I am like, when it comes to Tiki, I love the other category. Like, not mugs, not glassware. I love the plates. I love
Oh
salt and
yeah.
pepper shakers, all of that stuff. And so that's what I was going after. I did not have anybody else bid against me on anything else I was buying, but it was all like I got Kon-Tiki rice dishes. I got
Wow.
a 1940s zombie glass stuff that like for me is like this is pretty cool, but I got it for
Mhm.
25. And then but the modern stuff, people were going crazy on bidding. And
Oh
everyone has their different thing. I'm not, casting a judgment, but like
no,
And
totally.
just the mugs in general, like one of the Luau 400 mugs was up for sale, and that one got bid up quite a bit. Yeah.
Mm,
yeah. And
yeah.
and so there's still vintage stuff out there that
Mhm.
Oh, for
goes up
sure.
quite a bit.
For
But
sure. Yeah.
yeah, definitely some of that modern stuff is way more like maybe not more desirable, but just maybe in the kind of zeitgeist at the moment.
Yeah, I think there's always like the vintage stuff is super desirable that will hold its value and have collectors like climbing over each other to get it. But yeah, for sure the for some reason the modern stuff I just like, I mean, I don't get it. I mean, and the stuff is like a lot of the mugs are beautifully sculpted. They're from a lot of friends of mine, so I don't want to like denounce them. Uh, it's just a different mentality, I think.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm the same. I'm kind of the same way as you. Like there's during the Oceanic Arts auctions, there was, you can't see it right now, but there's like this big bamboo trellis kind of thing that
Yeah.
I got because nobody else wanted it. Everybody wanted tikis and masks and all that kind of stuff, and I wanted kind of like the other stuff at Oceanic Arts that seemed like people were overlooking. So yeah, I
Yeah.
know what you mean.
Yeah. So you kind of touched on it a little bit, but right around that time period, the early 2000s, like 2000, about 2002, 2003, from what I'm reading, right after the publishing of the Book of Tiki, that sounded like it kind of opened the floodgate to the wider audience. Do you have any
Yeah.
like memory, either like if how you found out like about the Book of Tiki, how you got your copy, and then maybe some of the impact outside of just the sales, like of
Mhm.
eBay and things like that. If the Book of Tiki really impacted the scene that you were hanging out in at that time, like did it get bigger? Did it change? Anything like
Oh,
that?
I think when the Book of Tiki came out, I think that was still pre Tiki Oasis, so um, it didn't affect the group of people I was hanging out with at all. But I remember I got the Book of Tiki in college. My
Mhm.
girlfriend at the time gave it to me, and I remember just reading it like front to back, like, and then I got to this point where I was like, it's all in German now. Like, what the hell is like?
Yeah.
Like I like fully didn't understand what that was. I mean, I looked at the author's name and I was like, Sven, okay, so maybe it's a translation, but it didn't occur to me. I was just baffled. So yeah, the Book of Tiki was monumental for a lot of people discovering it. And I think that if everybody who was coming into Tiki read that first, you wouldn't have so many, I guess, bastardizations of Tiki. And just like you, like I think that, man, you're welcome to do Tiki however you want. Like
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I for myself love the mid-century aspect of it.
Hmm.
And that's the stuff that I like. I've been spending a lot of time in Florida recently, and you meet people who talk about Jimmy Buffett and my tiki, Wayne Coombs, and I
Hmm.
I'm like, if that's what got you into it and that's what you like, go right ahead, man. But for me, it's yeah, it's the classic stuff for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
so I guess that to answer your question, I guess that opened the whole world up to me, like to realize that there are complexes that are themed tiki, that there were more tiki bars and restaurants that I'd ever even imagined. It made me aware of Oceanic Arts, which was like 35 minutes from my house.
hmm
Um, yeah, I guess that's about it with the Book of Tiki, but yeah, Sven was monumentally important, just like Jeff Berry was. And, if you think about tiki mug making, Bosco, Holden from
yeah.
Tiki Farm.
I mean, one of the things, at least, reading back from that time period, some of the posts that people were making, some of the things that people wrote down, um, the term got popularized, but urban archaeology, and that's what kind of the Tiki or the Book of Tiki kicked the door open to say there's this book represents what I have found so far, and I think that's kind of what
Right.
Sven talked about it, and so being in the tiki scene, even sort of pre-Tiki Oasis, you're getting into it. What was it like
Mhm.
engaging with the scene at the time? Did you go to any of the urban archaeology expeditions? Did you go to any of the parties, anything like that?
It's so funny because I don't know if you can put yourself back in that era where the internet was brand new and it was
Hmm.
like things we had heard about meeting people on the internet was like, oh, you're gonna get raped or murdered or
Yeah.
like that's it
Yeah.
wasn't common just to go like, oh, I met this guy on the internet, I'm gonna go hang out with him. But Tiki Central was like so monumental, so important. Everybody picked up where Sven left off, and they were all chiming in with discoveries that they had found, postcard collections, locations that hadn't been discovered yet. My buddy Sabu, the Coconut Boy, was like a big part of that. Tim and so I was probably 22 at the time, and I was like happened to be driving up Coast Highway from Huntington Beach towards Seal Beach, and I go, dude, what was that? And it was like this building with an A-frame with all these bushes that were very tropical, and I go, dude, I think that was one of those things. And so um, I think I took some pictures of it, and then you have to upload those pictures to Shutterfly, and then you have to post a link from Shutterfly to Tiki Oasis or Tiki Central.
Uh-huh.
It was such a giant pain in the ass. And especially even the phone, like the cameras back then were like these little things with like the lens would like you'd turn it on and the lens would like pop out like half an inch or whatever.
Yeah.
So dumb, oh, crazy. Um, but I told everybody on Tiki Oasis, I go, I think I found one of those places, and they go, oh, really? And I go, it's
Mhm.
called Sam's Seafood, and they're like, no way, Sam's Seafood. So the whole time, everybody knew about it because it was like one of the biggest tiki places on the West Coast. But
Yeah.
they were like fucking with me the whole time because they were like, "Yeah, tell us more." But that was like my first big discovery. Um, and then I ended up meeting Sabu the Coconut Boy at Sam's Seafood. And my friends who were like normal surfer guys were like, wait, who are we meeting at this place? Just like some guy from the internet? And I'm like, no, we're buddies. And they're like, have you talked to him before in real life? And I go, no, we're buddies. We type. And it was just like that didn't exist for most people. Like unless you were on bulletin boards or whatever. Um, it was just such a different time.
Yeah.
It's wild how things are progressing so quickly in tiki and technology and everything. I sound like I'm 300 years old, but yeah.
Yeah. So outside of the internet changing, the tiki game, do you remember anything else? Like they talk about Otto having Tiki News, the fanzine. Did you receive any copies of that? Or I
Yeah.
think there were other ones at the time. Do you remember that?
Yeah, you could go to Tower Records, and I used to love going to Tower Records because the magazine section was like immense. It was
Mhm.
like, God, how big was it? Like 50 feet wide of
Wow.
everything, like roller skate enthusiast and like guitar magazines and quilting, like all kinds of crazy. Well, maybe not at Tower Records. Tower Records had like really cool stuff. Um, but they also had like all these like narrowly distributed weird fanzines, and Tiki News was one of those things.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I was super early on Tiki News, but I was definitely before it went color. It was it was black and white for a long time, just
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
TV. And so I would read that cover to cover too, and it was kind of crappy. Like it was like Xeroxed, and like you could kind of make out a dude standing next to a tiki that was, but it was all telling like the history, and it was just people people weighing in with what they knew about tiki at the time. And yeah, so with no internet, well, barely the internet, you would just devour these things. You would read it from cover to cover because it was the only resource you had to get to finding out more about this thing, you know. And then eventually there was like a flyer section at the front of every Tower Records, and you'd go by there and you go try to look for concerts to go to or whatever. And finally came across a flyer for Tiki Oasis, and I was like, I'm gonna go to this. So yeah.
Awesome. So you mentioned that you're a guitarist and you have a band, the Hula Girls. How did you start the band? Have you always been a musician, or did the interest in rockabilly and surf kind of fuel that musical interest for you?
I started out playing guitar in high school, and it's mostly punk rock and like 1970s, 80s heavy metal, like speed metal. And I think that's like, I think there's some kind of link between just maybe the dexterity from that to surf music. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
But by the time I got into college, I was like heavy into like early punk rock and rockabilly, especially rockabilly at the time. And once I graduated, one of those dudes that I met on Tiki Central was like, I play steel guitar. Does anybody play guitar? I want to start like a Hawaiian Hapa Haole steel guitar band. And I go, oh, I'd love to join you on that. So this guy who lives in Huntington Beach and I started a band called the Smokin' Manahoonies. I'm not sure exactly what year that would have been. Maybe 2002, three, something like that. I keep coming across rehearsal tapes, like cassettes.
Mhm.
I don't have any way to listen to them, but I'm interested.
Mm.
We played the third, or maybe it was the fourth. No, we played the fourth Tiki Oasis at the Reef Bar in
Mhm.
Palm Springs. And yeah, it was instrumental Hawaiian Hapa Haole style music, and it was weird going from playing like punk rock to that. Um, Shortly thereafter, I quit the band, got in a fight with a steel guitar player at a house party where King Kukulele kept plugging in a, what's it called? It's not a snow cone maker. What's the other one?
Like a
Cotton
slushy?
candy. No, cotton
Oh.
candy maker. He kept plugging in this cotton candy machine, and it kept blowing the fuse. And so as we were like wrapping it up, all the like the lights under the stage kept going out, and my steel guitar player kept losing his mind. And so I finally was like, am I telling too much? And finally, um, I go, hey, dude, it'll be fine. And then outside, as we were loading out, like passing each other loading out, he goes, oh, well, he said something very something you don't say to another band member without like repercussions. And I go, okay, I quit. And so then that
Mm.
was it. And for a while, like I kind of quit the whole tiki world. Like I was disenfranchised, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of because there were people like Otto and Shag and Sven and Beach Bum Berry and Bosco who were like celebrities in Tiki. And I just felt like people were climbing over each other trying to become celebrities in Tiki. And it just felt like things had changed from a very organic thing of kind of like, I don't want to say punk rockers, but like um, outsiders who had found each other and were like finding all this stuff together. And somehow it just changed to something else. It was like normies were kind of finding the group, and which is like cool and stuff, but at the moment it was kind of weird. And so I left it for a while, and then eventually my bass player from the Smokin' Menahunis came to me, and they continued on playing. Actually, they found like a Hawaiian dude on ukulele. It was a totally different band, but
Hmm.
they found me eventually after a while, and they go, "Hey, you know that original idea you had for the Smokin' Menahunis, like rockabilly meets tiki? Uh, we want to do that, and we're gonna let you name it and write the songs, and just like we think it's a good idea. We just want to do something cool because we've been playing like backyard luau's for 5 years or whatever it was."
Yeah.
And oh, okay, I've been writing songs. And so the bass player and the steel guitar player, who I got in a fight with, we started rehearsing again at my house this time. And that was the Hula Girls. That was the beginning of the Hula Girls. And then eventually a girlfriend that I had said, you should have like pinup go-go dancers. And even back then, that was so foreign too. Like, pinup model, like where do you get a pinup model, and like how do you ask them to be a go-go dancer in your band? And the first go-go dancer in my band was Ruby Champagne, who won Miss Viva Las Vegas of like 2006 or something. I don't, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's how I ended up in the Hula Girls, and we are playing at Tiki Oasis for the 25th anniversary on Saturday.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah, that's exciting. We'll be there. We'll see you.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited to play it, and for a while I was trying to like, sorry, can you hear the siren? Does it
No.
matter?
No.
Oh, okay. Um, yeah, even with the Hula Girls after COVID, I was like trying to like, well, maybe we'll just let this thing kind of fizzle out, and then the minute I let it fizzle out or whatever, people are like, hey, we want to pay you a bunch of money to come back and be the Hula Girls again, and I'm like, oh man. So,
Well, I can't say
um,
no to that.
yeah, totally. So it's a little bit different of a lineup than people had been used to for a long time, but it's fun again, and that's like exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. We saw you play at High Tide Summer Holiday last summer,
Mhm.
right? Yeah.
Oh
Up in,
yeah,
yeah, up in New
rad.
Jersey.
Yeah,
That was a lot of fun.
that was a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
I mean, I'm just a geek about High Tide in general. I love that recording label, which, I'll plug it for you, which you are currently signed to.
It's true. Have you had them on the show?
We've been trying to link up with them. It's just been a scheduling issue so
Oh,
far.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're busy, but we've talked to them. We saw them a couple of months ago up at one of the events they were doing in
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Yeah.
Okay.
And then talked to Rita's last weekend, had them on recently. So
Very
yeah,
cool. Yeah, I
trying to
gotta
get the
watch
New
those
Jersey seat.
episodes. Yeah, I'll after we're done, I'm gonna watch those episodes for sure. Those are good friends of mine.
Yeah. They're so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we talk about kind of the soundtrack of Tiki, like I mean, you said, some people's thing is Jimmy Buffett. I don't think anybody in this call that's our thing, but
Mm-mm.
usually if you're gonna, you talk about what you play in a bar, it's usually something along the lines of surf, exotica, lounge, rockabilly, hapa something like
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Um,
Totally.
have you heard the sound change over the years? So, because I mean, talking about High Tide Recordings, but then you also have
Mm.
other recording labels that do surf, lounge, things like that. Has there been a big change, or is it really people going back to that original music from like the 50s, 60s for inspiration?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that there are. So when I started the Smokin' Menahunis years ago, um, I think we were very naive to
Mhm.
what Hawaiian music could sound like, and then you listen to Slow in the Boats now, and it's like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
oh, I think we were doing it wrong. Like, but also like Isaac is wildly talented. So
Mhm.
yeah, I see a lot of people doing traditional stuff, but I think it's kind of run the gamut. Um, the bands that I loved back then, like the Bomboras and Oh man. What's that? The horror, like the spooky surf band?
The Ghastly ones.
Thank you. Yeah, the Bombaras, the Ghastly Ones, Ape, all those bands were like contemporary at the time, and now they're like classic bands, which is so weird.
Mm.
Um, but I guess I see like bands like Messer Chups kind of picking up where they left off. So
Mm.
I think the music's similar. I think it's just maybe people are getting better at certain aspects of it. Like the Exotica side, you look at oh man, what's the Swedish band?
Ixtatele. I think
Thank
that's how
you.
you say that.
Extohele, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like so traditional and so good and but still hooky and yeah. And like I think the vibraphone guy plays bass in a psychobilly band.
Huh.
So yeah, interesting stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't really it's always been an interesting scene and I think about like the bands that inspired the Hula Girls and it'd be like the Blue Hawaiians were a big part of that, and the Tiki Tones, and maybe like Southern Culture on the Skids and stuff. So yeah, I don't know if I see a lot of bands doing things like the Hula Girls do,
Mhm.
or the kind of aforementioned bands. Like it seems like everybody's a surf band or like an exotica band.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Doesn't that seem like that? Nobody's
Definitely.
singing anything.
Yeah, I mean, and
Mhm.
I love surf music. I love instrumental. I mean, I've been geeking out over Jezziac and the Surfers all summer,
Oh
waiting
yeah.
for their album to come out. That stuff is seriously good. But I agree. It's like because I love rockabilly too.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, but that kind of like I don't know. It's almost like the missing link between them, where it's a part of all these music genres, and that's where I kind of hear the Hula Girls. But there's nobody else kind of like
Yeah.
fitting in that area. Which I mean, I guess hey, less competition, but you
Totally. I think I don't know. I think I think I just saw that early on where I wanted to blend the two,
Mhm.
surf and rockabilly with Hawaii stuff, So yeah, it's odd. And I keep telling Big Sandy, I'm like, you got to do a Hawaiian record. And he's like, what? Hawaiian record? I'm like, everybody did a Hawaiian record in the 50s. And I tell
yeah.
that to Deke too. I go, Deke, you got to do a Hawaiian record. The cool thing is that you do see some of these guys popping up at Tiki Weekenders more and more now, even though
Mhm.
they're not doing, say, like what the Hula Girls are doing. They're still doing what they do. It
Mhm.
doesn't feel out of place, and I'm
Yeah.
happy to see those guys, like a lot of guys that inspired me to start popping up at Tiki Weekenders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of curious. I know there's probably at least a couple of people who are listening to this right now who also play guitar. So I play guitar, and I know over the years your style changes, your taste changes. Especially you get a new guitar, it almost I've had a couple of them where it almost makes me change the way that I play. Either
Mm,
string spacing kind of becomes different. Have you noticed that over the years? So I watched a lot of videos of yours preparing for this, and I noticed throughout the years your guitar has changed. Just for my nerdy question, have you
mhm.
noticed like the way that you perform or the way that you kind of play the songs live altered with that shift?
Yeah. So like the first Tiki Oasis or the first Tiki Oasis that the Hula Girls played, I was playing an orange Gretsch 6120,
Ooh.
1960 model, and then I moved from that to a 6118, which is a 1960 anniversary. It's like the green one,
Yeah.
and I love the way that looks. And I love the way it feels because it's a big guitar, and the
Yeah.
Bigsby does a certain thing that like Fenders don't do.
Hmm.
It's just different. And the when COVID, so that's what I used for a long time with 11s, like really heavy strings.
Yeah.
And when COVID happened, I kind of like didn't play guitar as much. We basically, well, obviously we stopped gigging. And then once we started back up again, I got a Jazz Master, and I love the Jazz Master, and it's strung with like 10 and a halves. And I went, oh, dude, this is way easier to play.
Yeah.
Like way easier to play. And yeah, dude, it changes the way you think about the guitar because for some reason the Gretsch just makes you think of, I don't know, Brian Setzer or
Yeah.
like kind of jazz kind of things. Um, I think it had its moment, and I was almost going to play that at a show recently, and I went through a couple of songs, and I just went, there's just it's just too hard. And
Yeah.
Deke, I even asked Deke that one time. I go, how come you guys like always make fun of Gretsch guitars? And he goes, they're just really hard to play, man. He's like, I love how they look, I love how they sound. They're hard
Yeah.
to play. So
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I remember, a little side note here. I remember in high school, I got really into Stevie Ray Vaughan,
mm,
Texas Blues, and I read that he played 14 gauge strings. So I'm like, I'm gonna play 14 gauge strings. I hated it. I was like, "Oh, I want to stop playing guitar. This sucks. This is terrible." And then I
well, it's
got
like playing a bass.
Yeah.
yeah, it's awful. I mean, like your fingers feel terrible. I mean, like unless you're used to playing like that, like
Mhm.
unless you're Stevie Ray Vaughan, it's probably not going to sound good. And then I started playing Chet Atkins. I'm like, this is really hard with 14s. I went down to like nines maybe,
Yeah. All of
and
a
I was
sudden
like,
you're like, whoa.
whoa, I can actually play again. I got my
Yeah.
skill back.
Yeah, people have no idea like how much that can affect your playing.
Yeah, and for all the non-guitarists out there, I'm sorry, we're just talking about gauges of string, how heavy they are. That's it.
Yeah, totally.
So you mentioned that your first Tiki Oasis was Tiki Oasis 3, and you've
Mhm.
attended many of them, and the 25th is coming up this year. How have you seen this Tiki-centric event really change the Tiki scene?
How have I seen it change the scene?
Yeah, or the event has changed over time, like,
Yeah.
The people show up.
Um, Jeez, I don't know how to answer this. I know how I want to answer it, but I need to. This is like a delicate situation. Um,
You have to be diplomatic about it.
yeah, I think at the beginning, in 2003 or whatever, I guess it would have been 2003. I
Mhm.
think that nobody was afraid of offending anyone. I think it was a free for all for Tiki, like unapologetically Tiki, and it was wild. To see like burlesque performers for the first time in my life in Palm
Mhm.
Springs was like it, it was pretty impactful because I had never experienced that before. Um, Seeing Ape for the first time, seeing Crazy Al carve tikis while they were playing was pretty amazing. As the years went on, I went to several of the Tiki Oases in Palm Springs, and then for whatever reason, when they moved to a new location, I like don't go for a long time for some
Mm.
reason. So when
Mhm.
they moved to San Diego, I didn't go. Oh, okay, and also the early years of the Palm Springs ones were so small that it
Hmm.
felt like you knew everybody. Like it was a really tight group. And when it moved to when it moved to San Diego, when I came back for the first time ever, I think maybe we played, and that's why I came back. It was massive. I couldn't believe how many people were there. Um, it was like really a shock that it had become so big, and I think that's a good thing. I like the whole goal. Like you want to hold what you love like dear to you. Like you don't want it to get bastardized or screwed with. But at the same time, I hope that shows like yours and mine help guide people kind of in the right direction. And I think TQ Oasis attempts to do that also, because the goal is to bring more people into it. I think, and younger people.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Um, so the symposiums, I think were always there, and I think they were always for the true tiki lover. But if you want to go there and get blacked out drunk and like, we went from like little ukulele parties in room 135 at the Caliente Tropics in Palm Springs to the Hula Girls played in a hotel room with Agent Orange and the Untouchables in a
Hmm.
hotel room, not like a
Yeah.
suite. Well, I guess it was a suite, but like a
Yeah.
hotel room.
Yeah.
Crazy. And then the Swanky Bastards, and yeah, Tiki Oasis was a lot of fun for a lot of years, and it's so funny because like with modern cell phones and stuff, you have a million photos of your dog or cat or whatever from today, but it seems like almost no photos from that whole era of room parties in Tiki Oasis and like
Mhm.
all those different themes and stuff. And like the themes that they had back then, I think the promoters of Tiki Oasis wouldn't touch now. And
Mhm.
I think that political correctness when it comes to Tiki really scares me. Um, it doesn't scare me because I'm not going to change anything that I've got going on, but
Mhm.
um, it's funny to see how people change over the years when it comes to the topic of tiki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
I've
mean,
just like wandered into like a minefield for myself because, there are people who have shut down full websites that were giant
yeah.
resources to a lot of people, and that person used to give symposiums on the history of tiki, and like, so yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely is a very taboo subject, of course. And like, I'm not gonna, I don't think any of us want to give our opinion on that necessarily. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But I
Well, I
think,
think so too. Yeah, I think they
and,
totally are.
and you hit the nail on the head, right? Like I think we always talk about it is that like it, with the mid-century stuff, like there is a certain reverence to understand this style comes from an era,
Mhm.
and like maybe picked out some of the best parts of it and left some of the other stuff in the bargain bin. So
Totally, exactly. That's a great way to put it.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
hey, everyone's got their everyone's got their own opinions. So we're taking a walk back out of the minefield on that.
That's a good way to do it. So I'm very excited to go to the new location for Tiki Oasis for the first time ever. I haven't gone back to Tiki Oasis since COVID. I don't like it when they move hotels.
Yeah.
I don't like what happened to that hotel. It got stripped of all the Tiki stuff.
Oh,
A
the Honolulu.
lot of
Oh,
it,
I know.
a lot of it ended up in, well, a couple pieces ended up in the Breezeway here. So but I, to be honest, I'd rather have that stuff at the Honolulu than in the Breezeway. Like that's another thing that Otto made super clear in Tiki News, and it was like this. I don't know what you call it, like a mandate or like a words to live by Tiki proclamation or something. It was the idea was if there's a Tiki bar in business, you don't steal from it.
Yeah.
And I go to home tiki bars a lot, and I go, they don't sell that, and that's from a modern tiki bar, and yeah, that bums me out. I was just at the Mai Kai three days ago, Thursday,
Mhm.
Yeah.
4 days ago, something like that, and I was hired by the Mai Kai to photograph the whole place and shoot a bunch of videos and stuff, and I was basically in the Mai Kai by myself, and there are table lamps, hundreds and hundreds of vintage table lamps, just like kind of in piles and corners, and it would have been so easy for me just to
Yeah.
like put one in my bag and walk out with it. First of all, that didn't cross my mind. It crossed my mind in the sense that I could see somebody doing that, but at the same time, I just go, it's these are better served at this location so that
Yeah.
everybody in the world gets to really love this stuff. So
Yeah.
that's like a very line in the sand position that I take on that kind of thing.
No, I definitely believe in that as well. I mean, I think, so we were just up in New England recently, and we stopped at the Kowloon. We were going to stop at one place, and we said, well, Woosong is right there. They do lunch, but let's go to the Kowloon instead because that is
Yeah,
the classic spot.
Yeah.
and it's
And we
running out of
went.
time.
It is. And it is, I'm going to use this as an example and not call out where I saw this, but people will ask like, what's the best tiki bar in Boston? And everyone says, oh, go here, go there. But I usually say like, check out Woosong because it's original. They're these places, unless if they don't go supported, if they don't get
Mhm.
supported, they're not going to be around forever. And so,
I
uh,
agree.
and I think even now, people into tiki kind of lull themselves into a sense of security that it's like, yeah, these places will be around. But if
Oh,
people
right.
stop
Yeah.
attending the Mai Kai tomorrow, then there is no Mai Kai. Like there's no
Yeah.
Tiki Tea in places like that. So, I always
Yeah.
implore people to go to these vintage places. Don't expect necessarily the highest, craziest level cocktails with the best rums in the world, but
Hmm.
experience it and then treat it with at least a little bit of reverence. Like you said,
Yeah.
don't steal, respect it, all those things.
Hmm. Yeah. When I first when I discovered Sam's Seafood
Hmm.
in Southern California, we were just so stoked to be in like a vintage tiki place. The drinks were horrifying.
Yeah.
And but also we were also really naive to tiki cocktails back then, and so
Right.
we were just stoked to be drinking a big blue drink in like a pitcher, like a big fishbowl, And it
Yeah.
was like, oh, we're doing it, we're doing tiki. And I remember even trying to make cocktails out of the grog log back then, and it's like dark rum, light rum. So it was
Yeah.
Bacardi and it was Myers, and it nothing really tastes right, but um, uh, I think the big challenge with tiki, like I agree that Tiki Files should definitely support their local tiki bars and try to go to as many as possible and on a regular basis. Um, but it becomes a bigger question than just people who are into tiki going to tiki bars. That becomes the challenge, you know. I think that there are a lot of places that we love that are like incredible that have their own challenge of just trying to get normal people in all the time.
Yeah.
And it takes normal people and it takes the place being an incredible dining cocktail experience in order to keep those people coming in. Like the Kowloon still does great, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Very
But
prompt service. Yeah.
Yeah, we were there, what, noon? And there was quite a lunch rush,
Yeah.
right? There was a number of people.
yeah.
That was nice.
But you know, like Sam Seafood, which turned into Don the Beachcomber here in Southern California, you know, you go in there on a Wednesday and there's nobody in there. And I mean
Yeah.
nobody. Maybe one guy watching like baseball or something on the TV in the bar.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's tough because you want to tell people to patronize them, but at the same time, I don't know, maybe it's shows like yours and mine that help bring people into these places. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I think there always has to be a balancing point. I think I've seen a lot of people, and again, this is not me passing judgment or saying what you do is right or wrong, but like I know a lot of people who are really into cocktails,
mm,
and that's their thing. They're
yes, sir.
they kind of into tiki, but they're more in the cocktail side of things. And then I know other people who are totally into the architecture side of things, and it's like you kind of have to find that happy medium of both of them, where it's the expectation of when you go to a place, but
Oh
also,
yeah.
yeah, it's like you said, appeal to the vintage tiki files or the people who are going to go to these modern ones. Well, still the people who want a nice craft cocktail.
For sure.
I'm sure it's a difficult line to draw.
Yeah, I mean, but like I'll go to Kowloon and I'll get one cocktail so I can get a picture of the mug or whatever, and then it'll be Coors Light the rest of the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, sorry. And people always get on me about that. Like if they see me in public or in public at a tiki bar and it's not really known for great cocktails, or like if I'm playing guitar later that night, I'll be drinking Coors Light and they go, "What? You don't like tiki cocktails?" And I'm like, "Dude, I've made like 200 tiki cocktails on my show. Believe me, I've had a
Yeah.
lot of like I don't need to prove that I like tiki cocktails."
Right.
Yeah. Ellie, what's the number one drink that never fails anytime you have it?
A Coors Banquet.
Coors Banquet is our go-to.
Ooh, even more
Good
fancy than
every
me.
time.
Yeah, very nice. I
Yeah,
do love Coors Banquet too.
You
right.
can't beat them.
Yeah.
So you have a home bar, the Breezeway, that you've mentioned a few times, and the first iteration of the Breezeway, I believe, got started in 2012 when Bamboo Ben came over and designed your
Mhm.
home bar. What
Mhm.
was that experience like, and how has it changed over the years?
Yeah, there's a video on Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour on YouTube of it's a video of me looking back at the video. So okay, so the reason that Ben suggested building the Breezeway into the Breezeway is because he was filming a pilot for a show called Lost in Paradise, I think. No,
Building Paradise.
oh, you've seen it.
I
Building
have.
Paradise. And so my girlfriend and I at the time really loved kind of the Palm Springs aesthetic, and
Mhm.
so we really wanted to go like tiki modern. And yeah, I had known Ben for a while before filming that thing, and so
Mhm.
yeah, it was fun to see him like see what he did to put up a bar. There's still a lot of aspects of it that Ben built. I think like behind me, there's like parts of the matting that are kind of peeking out, and then the grid that all the lamps are hanging on. He built that. So yeah, there's a lot of aspects of the bar that are still Bamboo Ben, but over the years I've like kind of changed it into more of like a beachcomber style bar. But at the time, it's funny because I was like, maybe I don't do this anything or do anything permanent because maybe I want to sell the house eventually, move to something different or bigger, or like just kind of people buy and sell houses and kind of get bigger, nicer
Yeah.
houses as they go. But I'm pretty dug in now. So,
Yeah.
but Ben, yeah, it was interesting to see Ben like kind of sketch out the plan, and he immediately had a million ideas, and yeah, it was cool. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And for anybody that wants to see it, who's listening to this, I mean, everyone's going to be familiar with your show, but they need a refresher. Check out Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour. Could you tell us a little bit how you started that? You mentioned during the pandemic. When did you come up with an idea that you wanted to start doing YouTube and then start specifically making like cocktail and history and guest and interviews and all those types of videos?
Yeah, I kind of always wanted to go through and do every cocktail in the Beach Bum Berry Total Tiki app. And once we were all stuck at home, I was like, now's the opportunity to go through and make every one of those drinks.
Mm-hmm.
I got through about 12 or 13 of them, and Beach Bum Berry wrote me a letter and he goes, please stop it. I was like, uh-oh. Um, I guess well, I can see his point now. Like if I give away every recipe on his app, but every time I was plugging it, and I think I sold him, 200 subscriptions to his app. Uh, I didn't know what I was doing. Spice Breezeway Cocktail Hour went from a tiki cocktail tutorial show to like an interview show, kind of like what you guys are doing. But I was bringing on like, I at the time I had a pretty thriving pinup photography business. So every time a model would come over to shoot some stuff, I would have her on the episode, and burlesque performers and contortionists, and then tiki people in the scene like Sven, and he was like the voice actor of The Mandalorian, and
And
Bob
Brandy
Gurr
from
from
Star Wars.
Disneyland. Yeah, all kinds of people. Yeah, all kinds of people. But I didn't understand, I think, how to get big on YouTube. And so a lot of my contemporaries, like Educated Barfly
Hmm.
and How to Drink, went from similar like subscriber counts to now like 500,000. And so yeah, it was interesting. It started off very naive, and then as I figured out more and more about YouTube, I've tried to like maybe focus it more, and that's why I literally started Tiki Cocktails with Spike. Wait, how do you do it? Like that.
There
Tiki
we go.
Cocktails with Spike.
Oh,
Tiki Cocktails with Spike. And then there's the Cannibal Trio on the back.
oh yeah.
Um, and so the reason that I did that is literally to separate the two things. So Tiki Cocktails with Spike is not competing with what is competing with those Tiki cocktail channels or cocktail channels in general. But the other thing, Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour, can just be whatever. It can be this. It can be bringing a friend into the Breezeway and hanging out and talking. It can be tours of home tiki bars. It can be yeah, I don't know, like more like kind of viral challenges, but still within the realm of tiki, and hopefully not being cheesy.
Hmm.
But my thought behind that is to create potentially viral content that brings younger people into tiki.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something that I have coming out pretty soon with Hurricane Hayward about the Mai Kai, and we shot it just the other day, and I'm very excited about it. I think it has massive, like wide appeal potential, I think. And so I get excited about those kind of videos because that's the goal, is not just to teach people how to make mai tais, but to bring people into tiki bars. And if the numbers can get big enough, then people will come into these bars and say, I saw this place on Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour, and I want to see what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The drinks lure you in, and then you get
Right.
into the culture.
And I hope that that's what happens for a lot of young people. Except also, I think a lot of young people aren't drinking as much as older generations.
Well, I'm making up for them.
That's good to hear. But yeah, I've heard that statistic that younger
Yeah.
people, I think they're doing edibles and smoking vapes and
Yeah,
playing,
probably.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
yeah, playing
No,
video
I
games.
when we built our bar, I specifically said I only wanted it to be what the average man in the late 50s was capable of. So we have a late 50s Thunderbird parked in the garage, and so it starts when you walk into the
What year?
garage. 59.
I think Elvira's was a 58, right?
Oh, I
Oh
think hers,
no.
I think it was a 59 with the modified grill because she had the
Okay.
It looks like a 58, and then you zoom in, and it's actually spider webs, not the
Right.
like the hexagon or whatever.
Yeah. It's 58, 59, and 60 are all the same style. And then my Thunderbird is 62, which is 61, 62, 63 is the
Yeah.
Bullet Bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those.
I love all the Thunderbirds.
Yeah, you can't beat them. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, and so when we built our home bar, it was like we wanted late 50s, all that style and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh man, I guess I forgot where I was going
Are
with
you
that.
done with your bar? Are you done building it?
Is that possible? I mean, you tell. I mean, you're sitting in the breezeway. You tell me if it's possible.
It's not possible.
No.
There's
I mean,
always something you can do.
yeah. We're most of the way until I feel happy to sit down here for 3 days and not think about what I need to do next. And
Oh,
then
that's nice.
yeah, and then after that, I gotta, go back and think about it and start thinking about what's next.
Yeah.
I see a lot of open space behind your heads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This was definitely like a project that was a labor of love because we bought this house almost 2 years ago now, and
Okay.
it was a completely unfinished basement, and so Riley did all of the framing and the drywall and learned how to be a contractor in the midst of this design project. Yeah.
Rad. Well, looks cool.
The things we do for Tiki, after all.
Yeah, I know. Well, I wish I had a basement and not the Breezeway. I mean, I love the Breezeway. I love hanging out here with like Justin Scard and McBiff and stuff and smoking cigars and like being able to like be out indoor, outdoor, especially in Southern California. Like you can do that all year round.
Right.
But I wish that I had this in a basement so that I could always leave the camera set up. I could always like be ready to film. That's like the big downfall.
Mm.
Yeah. We're right. So we were living in San Diego before this,
Oh.
and we ended up having to move to like Northern Maryland,
Yeah.
and for my work. And then, so when we hit those Northeast winters, and I just want to crawl into a hole for 6 months, it is kind of nice, like to just sit down here. And we've been very lucky in the Northeast. Like I got a Whitco Hacienda with all 3 stools for $200.
Oh man.
Like just keep getting these great deals.
Yeah.
That's the nice part. We're not paying California prices, but we don't
Yep.
get California amenities. So,
Mhm. Are you going to the thrift stores a lot? Like, are you going to estate sales and thrift stores?
I would say it's a lot of Facebook Marketplace shopping.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's usually pretty good. I'll
Mhm.
still see, and people post a lot of ads about like thrift or estate stills and stuff, but usually it's a lot of like, and by this point, it's a lot of like 80s stuff, like mid 80s. Like
Yeah.
grandma's been hoarding for 40 years. Yeah.
Although I
Yeah, I
feel
know
like
what you mean.
around here, the best thrift stores we've been to that have had awesome tiki and mid-century stuff have all been in like the Amish country.
Yeah, big time.
Oh,
It's like very odd because you wouldn't assume that they would have like a lot of the, I don't know, like what would have been popular culture items, and yet
yeah.
I don't know
Wait,
if
why?
it's the
Why
people.
did it end up with the Amish?
I don't know. I mean, I found so my hacienda bar. I bought an Amish marketplace for $200. They misspelled tiki, and so I was like, I know what that is. And
Yeah.
then I bought. I drove up to like rural Pennsylvania because a person had a set of con tiki salt and pepper shakers that I didn't have.
Mm.
And then but yeah, it's out in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, I wasn't aware of like even the closest location, like con tiki port's location to that. I thought maybe New York City had one, but I don't remember. But yeah, I have no idea how it got there.
Yeah. Detroit, I know, had one. I don't know how close that is to
It would have
Maryland.
been probably like 7-8 hours
Oh God.
within a day's drive, but a long day.
But like, why would the Amish have ended up with that stuff? Because they don't like buy stuff, or is it just they just ended up in their neighborhood?
I don't know. Like it is very like intermixed. You'll have like the pockets of the
Okay.
Amish community, but there's still like regular like population around them. And I don't know if it's because being so inundated around the Amish, maybe there's fewer things to do, so they brought more of like their travels home with them, and like
Okay.
they like entertain themselves at home. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but
Who knows?
it's just a quirk. Like
Yeah. Hey, that's the way it goes. Yeah, so the Amishes are equal to Oceanic Arts. So
Yeah, that's another thing that I think so many people around here just took for granted was Oceanic Arts. And I've got, well, it's kind of hard to see, but there's stuff back there
Yeah.
that it's all from Oceanic Arts. And I just remember there were so many things at Oceanic Arts that like I wasn't crazy about. they were cool, whatever, but
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
wasn't crazy about. And now I'm like, I wish I would have bought those things. There was a cannibal pole that they manufactured, and it was probably like, that wide, or
Yeah.
it was machine carved. But I just saw like 12 of those at the Mai Kai, and I was like, damn it, dude, I never liked it back then. I thought it was corny or whatever, and now in context, it's like, damn, dude.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, again, I haven't been around, the longest or anything like that, and so I do think that with the closing of Oceanic Arts, I mean, that has probably had an impact so hard because I mean, you can
Mhm.
still get Lahala matting and you can still get kind of like the more basic like bamboo
Sure.
products and things like that
Mhm.
Yeah.
from other places, but it just left such a huge void of being able to like kind of the one-stop shop at the very least. I mean, it
Mhm.
wasn't until the auction that they sold off their vintage stuff. But
Right.
just seeing their catalog or seeing their Instagram post from 2017, 2016, I mean, like the
hmm
amount of stuff that people now probably would be chomping at the bit to get.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it was like relatively affordable too. The first time I ever went to Oceanic Arts, I remember going like, if I asked the guy in the back to carve me a tiki, what would that cost? And they go, Leroy would carve you that for $100 a foot. $100 a foot. So like a Marquesan tiki that you would see at Trader Vic's, $100 a foot. Which like back then I had no money, but 7-foot tiki, $700.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, those were the days, as the show once said.
Yeah.
God, that kills me, man. It just kills me that it was so accessible. And even masks and lamps and stuff, and like it was just there forever, and you just take it for granted, and now it's gone.
Yeah.
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 You've done a good portion of creating and building, lamps and trim work and everything for your own home bar. What was that experience like learning how to create those kinds of things?
Yeah, it was out of necessity. Like I first started carving tikis because I couldn't afford a tiki. And so you can't see him, but he's back in that corner there. Was the
Mhm.
second tiki I ever carved. And um yeah, I think also just as an artist, Tiki isn't Tiki the god of art? Is that right? I've
Tricks.
heard that.
I couldn't remember if it was tricksters or art. I don't remember.
Yeah, I thought it was art or artists, or
Maybe you're
it's
right.
also considered the first man.
Yeah, and Maori.
Um, yeah. So I think you're just like, as an artist, you just kind of are compelled to like see if you can do it.
Mhm.
And tiki carving scares me because like I'll get one good tiki out of every four carves, and so I just don't have the time to like screw up that much. And then, but making the lamps seemed like super. It's just kind of putting things together and then seeing if it looks cool. And I really do enjoy building lamps. Carving all the trim for the bar was kind of like a necessity for, Bamboo Ben was like, if you want trim in here, like you better figure out how to carve it. So, I did. And um, it's all very accessible. It just takes somebody with like a little bit of ability and maybe a little bit of guidance if you're not used to tools. But yeah, that's another one of those things that I want to feature on Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour is just some tutorials on how to build lamps, how to carve trim, and maybe maybe the next time that Crazy Al comes over, we talk about carving tikis or something. Actually, one of the time that I was spending at the Mai Kai, one of the things that I did was I walked around the whole place with Flounder with Scott Scheidley, who
Mhm.
helped rebuild all or most of like the 300 lamps in the Mai Kai,
Mhm.
256 lamps, something like that. And at the end of the episode, he builds a Mai Kai style lamp from scratch. So that is on the way. I'm really excited about that because
Yeah.
it's one of those things that I've always wanted to do, but I don't know. You think things get in the way. So it was nice to have somebody else do that for me, and I just had to film it. You know.
Mhm.
So we've throughout this interview we've kind of been talking about some of the so where have you been, what's going on now, and some of the trends. But one of the things I kind of want to explicitly ask is, where do you see things going from here? We've talked about getting younger people into tiki and trying to spread that,
Mhm.
maybe trying to get people into not just the cocktails but the culture too.
Mhm.
So where do you see the scene going from here?
I have no idea. I have no idea where I see the scene going because I've been kind of absent at Tiki Oasis for a long time. I think that the most recent Hukilau
Mhm.
was kind of a shell of its former self. They announced the lineup super late. There were only like a couple hundred people there, so the Hukilau looked like Tiki was dying. But I think that was just a marketing thing.
Mhm.
I'm curious to see about Tiki Oasis. I see more and more events like pop up all the time. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
stuff in the Midwest. Like I really
Yeah.
enjoy going to the Midwest. I can't wait to go back to the Inferno Room.
Mm-hmm.
The what's it called? Is it the layover? You guys know about that? Kansas
No, no.
City. They're bringing me out for that, so I'm really excited to see Kansas City. How Kansas City does tiki. Florida. Um, the Maikai has mentioned the potential of doing their own events, and then uh, Tiki Go Go in Orlando was actually really well attended, but again, not a whole lot of younger people. So I'm not really sure where the future of like Tiki as a whole goes, but I'm excited about the potential with the Breezeway Cocktail Hour. We've been doing a cruise every year, Breezeway Cocktail Cruise,
Mm-hmm.
and that keeps getting bigger and bigger. Um, there are ideas being thrown around about like a weekender, a Breezetonian weekender. Um, yeah, I don't know. That's a really good question. Like I don't. Let me ask you, where do you see it? Where do you see it going?
I mean,
Go ahead.
I'll let you answer. I mean, do you want pessimistic or optimistic?
I just want the truth, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll start out negative and I'll finish on a positive note. I'm naturally concerned about how fractured things are getting. Like people have told me Tiki is not explicitly Polynesian, and I'm like, I don't know about that one, Chief. Like, I don't think
Wait,
that's right.
wait,
Um,
what? What does
Yeah.
yeah,
that mean?
basically that I've said like, oh, like normally I don't like saying like, oh, that's Tiki, that's not Tiki. But there's certain things well, all right, I enjoy doing it, but I have a show now, so I don't like doing it.
Well, that's exactly it. You're like, well, I got to play this like I don't really care, but also I like really care.
Yeah, exactly. And so I've seen some stuff. I've seen people post things that it's just like I'm putting this in my tiki bar. It's like, you don't really have a tiki bar. You have a cocktail bar, and it's fine.
Sure.
It's just not tiki. And so there is a part of me that is worried about
Hmm.
how kind of the core uh
Authenticity.
yeah.
Yeah.
And because I
Hmm.
argue about with people saying like, oh, well, tiki's not authentic at all. It's all made up anyway. I'm like, well, I don't know about that one either.
Well, it is within guidelines.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's a framework that you kind of have to adhere to.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, if you look at Sven's guide in the Book of Tiki,
Yeah.
it talks about tangential stuff and like you can have portions of that in your bar and
Mm-hmm.
still it's still a tiki bar, but um the minute the whole bar becomes like Star Wars, then how is it? It's not a tiki bar, it's a Star Wars bar. It's like it's
Yeah.
something else. There, what scares me is um there are a lot of bars that are popping up that are, I think they're afraid of being a tiki bar, but at the same time they're treading on all of the recipes and the tropes and like the cocktail experiences, and it's a tiki bar. There just
Mm-hmm.
aren't any tikis in there, and it's like, oh, I get what you're doing. You're scared.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got friends that like good friends that work at some of those places, and yeah, that's a disturbing trend to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the kind of the positive note side. So I will say a lot of people our age, it's not necessarily that people are looking for like vintage or perfectly like reenacting what it was like in 1958, but they want authentic experiences. That's a lot of the people in their
Totally.
mid to late 20s is they want something that is not just a corporate, this has been through 15 rounds of market development and everything. People
Mm-hmm.
want kind of the rougher edges. So I do have hope that people that I've introduced to Tiki have taken with it and ran. And
Mm-hmm.
so I do
Hmm.
have hope that at least younger people do get into it and recognize that. So yeah, there's some give and take there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the people that find it immediately become drawn to it. And that's the trick. It's just exposing them to it and
Yeah.
exposing them to kind of the correct vintage version of it. Can I say that? I don't know if I can say
You can say that on our show, and
that.
Yeah. I think one of the things with bars now is like maybe they have a fascination with uniqueness and
Hmm.
everybody's trying to put a unique spin on something and make their thing slightly different and almost trying to like one up it and get recognized and get noticed because those are the TikToks or anything else that will go viral is when you have something new and something unique and it kind of really
Totally.
takes away from the traditional like well-loved aspects that made it such a die-hard hobby in the first place.
Yeah, I think at the same time, there are like very viral elements of
Mhm.
tiki bars for things like TikTok, like
Yeah.
the mystery girl performance at the Mai Kai, and like every time you order a cocktail at Trader Sam's, the ship sinks and like the volcano
Mhm.
goes off, and so I like there are things that should be very attractive to younger generations just in like the cocktail side of it. And then once, like you said, once you like the cocktail side of it and the performance side of it, hopefully people are drawn to the rest of it. One of the things that I just don't see is I don't see that translating into people wanting to be part of like the tiki community and
Mhm.
like coming to the events. I think that's the big hang up because I think younger people are going to tiki bars. I just
Yeah.
don't think
Yeah.
that they are diving in like we are, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It-
So
I would say from living in San Diego, going to False Idol on a Friday night, a Saturday night, it'll be packed with like 20, 30-year-olds in
right,
there. But not everyone, I feel like, is there because it's a Martin Cape bar or a tiki bar. Like people are there because they've seen it online. It's
right.
busy, it's loud, it's
Mhm.
fun, the drinks are cool, it's hip, and it's not necessarily like we went on a Tuesday night and we were the only people in there.
No way.
oh, it
It,
was
it
amazing.
was probably like an hour and a half, 2 hours where we were the only people in False Idol on a Tuesday night.
Was that like right before I went
Wow.
back to Africa?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Wow. Yeah, I mean it's awesome for sure, but it's also
Yeah.
like Tuesday night, they're like
Yeah.
dead, like empty.
And then after, I would say we got there at 5 o'clock. By 6:30, like more people started coming in, and it was
Oh,
like
okay.
a more like regular,
Okay.
calm,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
conversational level. But
Yeah.
then you're
Not a
there on a
full
Friday.
rager.
No,
No, but Friday night, like, yeah,
or
you
even a
know.
Grass Skirt or some of these other places that are like really well known and well loved. But
Mm-hmm.
Well loved by
there,
some.
yeah, there are the younger people there for sure. But then yeah, you go to other things and they're just not there.
Right.
Yeah. It's a long.
Side note, real quick. This is a Mai Tai with the Hamilton grass skirt blend.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's perfect for Mai Tais. It's so good. Not sponsored, but
Fair enough.
so good.
Yeah. So I will say, I made a small joke about Grasker. I know a lot of people love it.
Mm.
Every
I
time
haven't been there.
It's really well
different.
decorated. The food is delicious. The drinks
Yeah.
are even very inventive and good. They play a lot more on like the tequila aspects of things.
Yes.
Okay.
But I think their choice in music tends to lean more towards like hip hop, house music, like
It's house music in like 1998, though. Like,
That changes nothing for me.
yeah.
yeah, it's
I'm
not.
like, okay.
It's just like you turn down the tone on it and you just raise the bass, and so
Oh, right.
it gives me a horrible headache every time I'm there because it's
Oh,
like just that one where you feel it in your chest, but it's not like there's nothing that your ear can catch on to, and so it's just very
yeah.
like annoying to me.
Yeah. I kind of heard that about that place too. I
Yeah.
really don't know anything about grass skirt other than like the rum blend from Hamilton. Not
Yep.
Yeah.
sponsored. Is so good for my ties. And actually I didn't really have much interest in going to the place because of everything you just said, and also like the decor looked like it was kind of like it wasn't super immersive, especially when you have the
Yeah.
opportunity to go to False Idol or
Right.
Bali High or one of those places. But I do understand the reason why these bars need to do that with the music, and
Yeah.
I was interviewing Corey Starr at the Mai Kai, and Corey is
Mhm.
the beverage director and the manager now. And he came from Three Dots, and I've heard the same thing about Three Dots. Three Dots is incredible cocktails, but after a certain time or whatever, your pumpkin turns back into a chair. Wait, no, your carriage turns back into a pumpkin, I
Mhm.
guess, and
Yeah.
like the hip hop, the dance music like happens, and he was
Mhm.
just like, that's the only way we could get young people in there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because there are other places that are having that challenge too. It's like, I love listening to like three old Hawaiian guys play Tiny Bubbles or,
Yeah.
whatever, but I'm we're an anomaly. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And certainly younger people who aren't into that at all are just go like, what the hell is this? This isn't fun. This isn't cool. So
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is for that either. I don't want to see these places with like loud rock and roll music. And I mean like modern, I don't want to hear like the Black Crows or whatever in a tiki bar.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see TV screens in there, but it's like, what's the trick? How do you bring younger people in and
Yeah.
hold them?
I would say that it's, I mean, and maybe my last point on this, but it's like
Hmm.
I would say that it also, there is kind of a blend that needs to happen of things that you're into to eventually lead you into tiki. For me, it was
Oh, I totally agree.
surf and exotica, and I watched a lot of 50s beach movies and stuff. And I watched a lot of Leave It to Beaver, which is not normal for someone who's 25. Like just to be exposed to
Totally.
that late 50s, TV music.
Yeah.
But I would say that there is kind of a shining light. So like,
Mhm.
we had Matt Strickland on recently, and he said
Matt.
we love the guy. Gave me, sent me this great necklace here,
Oh yeah.
and he said that rockabilly used to be the punk rock retirement plan, and now tiki is the rockabilly retirement plan.
Sure.
And so maybe there is an element where it does take a little bit of maturing to go through certain things, but people our age, like we were exposed to SpongeBob, we were exposed to things that use a lot of influence from tiki designs, and so maybe there is a shining light that is just going to take a little bit more time to
Hmm.
mature up into it. Maybe I'm just being hopeful, but yeah, I don't know if that even makes sense. Hopefully it
No,
does.
I think that totally makes sense. Yeah, it's just I just go back to like when I found it because it was odd for me to like it, and everybody before me was older, and so like I don't understand. I don't understand why just people haven't found it en masse um, at a younger age. I'm not sure. Yeah,
People like
well,
getting,
that's just what you said though. You
yeah,
said maybe you need to take it takes a little bit more maturity, so maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
people like getting drunk. People don't like reading. Maybe that's the issue.
It's true. That's true. But they like watching YouTube, so hopefully
Yeah.
this helps.
There you go.
So you mentioned, your band, the Hula Girls, is going to be playing at Tiki Oasis 25. You have some exciting videos coming up. What's
Hmm.
next for you and the Hula Girls and the show?
I after this, I don't think the Hula Girls have anything booked, so we're really excited about playing this show and then seeing what happens after that. We do have some stuff recorded, so potential for a new 45. I have that double neck guitar that
Yeah,
I'm going to be playing on two songs. We only used it for one song because it's in the key of B. You
yeah,
need it. You need the B for the baritone.
Hmm.
So I wrote another song. So now we have two baritone or two double neck guitar songs. Uh, so that's been fun. It's a weird thing. People like compare it to like what's it called, Led Zeppelin or whatever, and I'm like, no, it was before that.
yeah,
Uh, as far as the show, Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour, that's going to be focusing mostly, I think, on home tiki bar tours. Actually, coming up real soon, it's going to be almost nothing but Mai Kai for a while, and I'm really excited about that. Having the opportunity to work with the Mai Kai and like kind of have free reign within the whole place and really tell the Mai Kai story is something that hasn't been done on YouTube yet. I don't think. I don't think. Um,
mhm,
so then we also have a new Breezeway cocktail cruise coming up here. We're going to be leaving out of New York and going to Barbados, Bahamas, maybe the Bahamas. I don't know where we're going, but
mhm.
that's always fun. And hopefully there's a Breezeway weekender that's going to pop up here pretty soon. I don't know if we're going to be able to announce it yet, but yeah. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see Tiki get more of a spotlight, especially on YouTube, because people have kind of screwed with it, and it really hasn't blown up the way that I think it should. So that's kind of like my main concern. And then I did launch another channel, Tiki Cocktails with Spike, and it is just wait, hold on, there it
There we
goes.
go.
It is just quick, like 10-minute recipes. A lot that I've already done on Breezeway Cocktail Hour, but it's so funny because it just featuring cocktail recipes on this other channel are already seeing more views than mixing them in with the other content on the other channel.
Yeah.
YouTube finally understands what I'm doing, and they go, okay, we'll show you to more people. And also, I think
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing a little bit more too. It's so funny. I ran into one of my old Tiki friends, and they go, yeah, somebody who's like a pretty big bartender in Tiki said that they don't think you're a good bartender. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not. I'm not a bartender. I've never been a bartender. And that's like that's the whole key of the show. Is like I read the recipe, I try to make it as good as possible and convey it to the people. And also after 5 years, I have learned a lot. But I thought that was so funny because it's like I'm trying to be the every man and welcome you into the Breezeway to hang out and make a cocktail. So there you go.
Yeah. I mean, funny enough, like, I swear we didn't, we didn't take the idea from you or anything like that. But like on our show, like we thought the most important thing was, in Tiki is community. And so I was like, I mean, Tiki is big, but like, there's nobody out there who is like, oh yeah, talk to my booking agent first, or maybe there is. And I just don't. But like, so it's like
Sometimes.
relatively speaking, most people are, very easy, very reachable.
Yeah.
And so it's like part of our show is that like, hey, everybody's out there, like, people want to talk, people like doing this, you can see people. And so it's like in the same way that, cocktails at home, you can do it too. It's like with this, it's like everyone is basically one event away from, meeting each other or, one message away.
Yeah, that was a big part of once I started bringing in the guests. All of a sudden I went, oh, now we're actually chronicling history. And the interviews that I did with Sven, with Bob Gurr, especially, Bob Gurr's 90 something years old and designed almost all the ride vehicles at Disneyland. All of a sudden I realized that it was really important to get those interviews, and I appreciate that you're focusing solely on Tiki because there's a lot of stories there that haven't been told in a way that is as compelling as the way you're doing it. And
Thank you.
yeah, totally. And I think that's important. I think that's important for the history of the scene, especially when it comes down to like 18 people who are still interested in this, and then they need to carry the torch to like the next group who becomes big again. So yeah, I think what you're doing is super important.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We really appreciate your time. And for everybody, make sure you go check out everything that you're doing. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Aloha, everybody.
Aloha. We'll see you soon. Do.
Thank you again to Spike for joining us on this episode. We had such a fun time sitting down, interviewing with you, so thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to talk with us. You just spread so much Tiki love, and it was a pleasure to talk with you. You can find Spike on YouTube at Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour and his new show, Tiki Cocktails with Spike. You can also find him on Instagram at the Hula Girls, Tiki.Cocktails, and Spike in the Camera. You can also head on over to High Tide Recordings to check out the physical Hula Girls merch there, buy a copy of their album, or anything else that just supports them as a band.
Like Ellie said, go check out the Hula Girls, go check out Spike's channels, whatever you got to do. I mean, I found myself rewatching old episodes of Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hours on a number of occasions. But if you're at Tiki Oasis, make sure you go check out the Hula Girls play live. Like we said in the beginning, we are at Tiki Oasis right now, and we are going to be run ragged by the end of it. Morning to night, full of nothing but Tiki and Ohana and having a whole lot of fun. But when we get back, we're going to have something new in store for you. When we started this show, we had a promise that this show is about you. This show is about the last 30 years of the Tiki scene. This is about all the people who've worked so hard to bring it back, who've gone to the events, who've made the mugs, who've painted the paintings, who have made events, every little thing. So next episode is going to be slightly different. It's going to reflect that. You're going to hear interviews from all of you who are attending Tiki Oasis right now. So if you're listening to this and you see us, come say hi. Tell us how you got into Tiki. Why do you keep coming back every single year? What are your favorite stories? Anything that you can think of, because that's what the Tiki scene is all about. To me, I always say it's not about cocktails, it's not about mugs. All that stuff is absolutely great, but it's about the people, and that's what we really love, and that's what Ellie and I want to share.
So next week, you can look forward to a lot of short flash interviews with lots of different people, not just those who have helped revive Tiki from its grave, but those who are excited and participating now.
This new episode format is going to be a transition into a new series that I'm doing. It's going to be called Tiki Today, and it is just that. It is about the Tiki scene as it stands today. Again, I love cocktails and I love rum, but I don't think I'm good enough to be able to give my opinions on them. So what I want to do instead is that there is so many Tiki groups out there, from the Northeast to the Southwest. It doesn't matter where you are, even in certain parts of the world. There is Tiki all over the world, and we want to share that. So if you're part of a Tiki group, a Tiki scene, if you have a little fanzine, whatever it is, let us know, and so we can get it featured on Tiki Today. We're still hashing out the details, and I'm still trying to figure out everything that I want to do for it, but keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, so we have some really exciting stuff to look forward to. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode, for joining us at Tiki Oasis, and for just being great supporters of both Ryley and myself and the, excitement we have for this project.
You guys really are the best. I know everyone, we've said that quite a few times to all of you. We really appreciate you. All the words of encouragement, all of the people who've come on, and definitely over this weekend as we're talking to a lot of you, we appreciate your time, because again, you're the ones we came out to see.
For those of us who couldn't join us at Tiki Oasis, we're sorry we missed you. You can definitely still interact with us on the Facebook group, on Instagram, all those lovely places that will be linked down in the show notes below, because we do want to see your Tiki pictures, your Tiki stories, and we're sorry that we couldn't see you this weekend.
And if you're at home right now and not able to make it Tiki Oasis, like Ellie said, send us your pictures. Send us a recording, how you got into Tiki, a couple of minutes long, and introduce yourself and what scene you're a part of and where you're coming from. We love to, whether if you're here or not, we'd love to hear from you.
Yep, so be sure to check out the show notes below for our link tree, everywhere you can find us, and stay tuned for the next episode.
Aloha, everyone.
Bye.